What if I told you the person behind King Von's death wasn't just some random street enemy, but his very own blood? Chilling whispers claim Von's murder hides a twist darker than anyone imagined. His sister, the same one fans thought was mourning, might have been standing right there with a gun in her hand. Family loyalty? Nah, this was betrayal at its most savage. Rumors suggest Von caught his sister in the dirtiest scandal of all, with NBA YoungBoy, the very man he called his deadliest enemy. Imagine the fury, the shock. Von knew if this secret went public, it would blow everything apart. But before he could expose it, the tables flipped. And here's where it gets uglier. To protect her image, to bury the shame, she didn't stay quiet. She allegedly became the second shooter. Not alone either. Lil Durk's name has now been dragged into the fire. Fans are asking, was this a killing or a conspiracy written in blood? They say what's hidden in darkness eventually comes to light. And this time, the light is blinding. They called it brother-sister love. They called it unbreakable. But when the cameras were off and the music stopped, betrayal was already writing its own song. King Von, the storyteller of the streets, the rapper who lived and died by his code, never thought the bullet that ended him could trace back to his own family. But that's exactly where this scandal begins. For years, fans only saw Von's sister as the girl standing by his side, defending his name online, clapping back at haters like a ride-or-die sibling. She was loud, fiery, family. But the streets didn't know. Family ties don't always mean loyalty. Sometimes they mean leverage. Sometimes they mean danger. Behind the smiles, behind the sibling pictures, burned a secret hotter than Chicago summers. Von's sister was allegedly involved with NBA YoungBoy. Yeah, that same NBA YoungBoy, Von's archenemy, the man whose beef with him turned into a hip-hop civil war. This wasn't just drama, it was deadly. Picture this. Von walks in, maybe unannounced, maybe suspicious, and sees the unthinkable. His sister caught up with the very man he swore was his biggest op. The silence in that moment must have been louder than any bullet. Von's eyes? Pure shock. Her fear? Off the charts. Because she knew this wasn't just embarrassing. It was career-ending, reputation-killing, clout-shattering. And Von? He wasn't the type to keep secrets. He spoke the truth, no matter the risk. That's where the fear took over. Whispers say Von's sister panicked. What if Von went public? What if he told Lil Durk? What if the whole OTF family knew? In their world, loyalty is everything, and betrayal is a death sentence. Sleeping with the enemy wasn't a scandal, it was treason. Her mind twisted with panic. Suddenly, the brother she grew up with wasn't her protector anymore. He was a ticking time bomb, one word away from destroying her image. And in the streets, when fear collides with desperation, the cost is always blood. But here's the twist. Von wasn't just suspicious of NBA YoungBoy. He had evidence. Insiders say he was ready to air everything out. Von, the same man who used Instagram Live like it was a diary, was allegedly about to drop hints, maybe even expose the whole dirty truth. He knew the internet would explode. But what he didn't know was that trying to expose it could be his death warrant. So how does a sister silence her own brother? Rumors say she didn't act alone. And that's where Lil Durk comes in. Von's so-called brother-in-arms, the man who mourned him in public, turned concerts into tributes. His name is now whispered in the dark corners of the internet. The theory? Von's sister begged Durk for help. Cornered, terrified, she needed a way out. People claim meetings happened, calls were made, and the conclusion was brutal. If Von couldn't be controlled, he had to be erased. Permanently. The night of Von's murder was painted as chaos. Shots fired, a fight outside a club, total confusion. But whispers twist the tale. They say there wasn't just one shooter. There were two. And the second shooter? The one nobody could identify? Fans believe it was Von's sister pulling the trigger. And when the smoke cleared and Von lay bleeding, she didn't take the blame. No, she was clever. She pointed elsewhere. Names were thrown around, distractions created, and suddenly, nobody was looking her way. The streets were chasing ghosts. But here's the truth. Secrets never stay buried. Screenshots leak. DMS spill. Fans connect, dots nobody wants connected. And now the theory spreads like fire. King Von's own sister had the motive, the chance, and the ice-cold heart to end her brother's life, just to cover up her scandal with NBA YoungBoy. And if Lil Durk really was involved, then everything fans believed about OTF for life collapses in one brutal twist. This wasn't the ending. This was just the beginning. A family bond shattered, a forbidden scandal with an enemy, and a conspiracy quietly boiling beneath the surface. But the nightmare truly begins when you trace the so-called evidence trail, the DMS, the witnesses, the shady moves suggesting this wasn't just a killing. It was an inside job. And the question haunting the streets is cold. If Vaughn's own sister could pull the trigger, then who else was in on it? The evidence trail. That's what fans began calling it. At first, King Von's death looked like just another tragic night in the endless loop of rap beefs. An argument, fists thrown, then gunfire. The streets thought it was simple, case closed. But the whispers started. Too many contradictions. Too many details swept under the rug. And standing in the middle of all of it, Vaughn's sister. The theory exploded online, born in messy comment sections and conspiracy pages. There was a second shooter, some typed. The angles don't match, others claimed. Then came screenshots. Leaked DMS, allegedly between Kayla, Vaughn's sister, and a friend, where she panicked that Vaughn knew too much. In one chilling line, she allegedly wrote, "He saw me with him. If he talks, it's over for me." Him. Fans believe that him wasn't just anybody. It was NBA YoungBoy, the ultimate enemy. Suddenly, this wasn't just a rumor. It was a motive. Vaughn's sister had everything on the line. Her clout, her reputation, her place in OTF. And if the world found out she was sneaking with NBA YoungBoy, it wouldn't just be humiliating. It would be suicide. So what do you do when your brother is ready to expose you, and your op could use that secret to destroy you? You either confess, or you silence him. But Vaughn's sister didn't act alone. Here's where Lil Durk's shadow looms over the story. Fans started piecing together timelines. Durk and Vaughn were inseparable, brothers in arms, aught till death. But after Vaughn's murder, some things didn't line up. Fans dissected Durk's interviews, how he dodged certain questions, how vague he was when speaking about the details. Too polished, too cautious, like a man shielding himself or protecting someone else. Then came the bombshell theory. Durk wasn't just protecting Vaughn's name, he was protecting Vaughn's sister. Whispers suggest Vaughn's sister ran to Durk when the scandal with YoungBoy risked being exposed. Vaughn had seen too much, and she panicked. Desperate, she turned to the only person powerful enough to handle it. And Durk? If Vaughn started leaking dirty secrets about his circle, OTF could collapse from the inside. So the whispers grew louder. Was this a partnership in betrayal? Did Vaughn's sister and Durk make a silent pact to erase him? And then came more suspicions. Within hours, Vaughn's sister was on social media, posting, defending, spinning the story. Too quick. Too loud. Almost like she was creating smoke to hide the fire. She knew something, one blogger claimed. She wasn't just grieving. She was distracting. Then came the darkest twist. What if she wasn't just covering for someone else? What if she was the second shooter? Screenshots began circulating from insiders claiming Kayla confessed to firing but pinned it on another person. Others claimed Durk used his influence to redirect blame, twisting the narrative away from her. In this version, Vaughn wasn't killed by the streets. He was killed by blood and brotherhood turned rotten. The internet ran with it. YouTube theories hit millions. Twitter threads went viral. Vaughn's sister killed him to hide her scandal, they posted. Durk helped cover it. Each share, each retweet, amplified the whispers into a roar. And the creepiest part? NBA YoungBoy. He never denied it, never addressed it directly. But fans picked apart every lyric, every post. One bar about sleeping with the ops family drove people insane. Was that aimed at Vaughn's sister? Was it his way of trolling from a distance? Suddenly, the scandal wasn't just about betrayal and death. It was about humiliation. King Vaughn, a man who built his name on respect, was allegedly destroyed in the dirtiest way possible, betrayed by his own sister with his enemy, and silenced by his closest ally. The streets were stunned. And yet, they couldn't look away. Because if this story is true, then everything people thought they knew about King Von's death is a lie. It wasn't a random night gone wrong. It wasn't just another rap beef exploding. It was an inside job. The evidence? Messy. The rumors? Endless. But the motive? Clear. Vaughn's sister had everything to lose. And Vaughn's honesty was her biggest weapon against her. So now the question isn't just who killed King Vaughn. The real question is, how deep does this betrayal go? Was it just a desperate sister trying to save herself? Or was it a calculated plot designed by the very people Vaughn trusted most? Because when you start connecting the dots, the picture that emerges isn't just shocking, it's terrifying. And part 3? That's where the aftermath cuts deep. Fans screaming for justice. OTF silence fueling suspicion. And King Vaughn's legacy rewritten with betrayal dripping through every line. The smoke around Vaughn's death never really faded. People thought time would heal, but instead, time only uncovered darker truths. The whispers didn't end at second shooter. They grew into something wider, uglier, and way more dangerous. After Vaughn was gone, his sister didn't retreat into silence like a grieving family member should. No. She doubled down online, clashing with Asian Doll, flexing designer outfits, throwing subliminals as if nothing had happened. For some, it looked like coping. But for others, it looked like a disguise. Guilt can wear a lot of faces, and hers was beginning to crack. The streets asked, if she truly pulled the trigger, how did she walk away untouched? Where were the cops? Where was the investigation? Nothing. Absolute silence. Almost like someone powerful kept her name out of the reports. And then all eyes shifted to Lil Durk. His act as the grieving brother never fully convinced fans. He cried on stage, yelled "Long live Vaughn," but behind the scenes, he was moving differently. Cases disappearing. Records exploding. Industry doors opening wide. People whispered, was this really grief, or guilt mixed with profit? Because here's the truth, Vaughn's death didn't just break hearts. It shifted power. Overnight, Durk wasn't just another Chicago rapper. He became the face of a new wave, wearing Vaughn's name like a badge while cashing in on sympathy. But if he had a role in silencing Vaughn, then every tear was theater. Every tribute, just cover. And what about NBA YoungBoy? His silence was the loudest of all. A man who fights every diss, claps back at every enemy, said nothing when fans tied his name to Vaughn's sister. No denial, no defense. Nothing. And in this game, silence screams. The conspiracy snowballed. Vaughn's murder wasn't a random street beef. It was strategy. A chessboard move where his own sister was the second shooter, Lil Durk cleaned it up, and YoungBoy smiled in the shadows. The industry? Quiet. Because scandal sells records, but truth destroys empires. And here's the part fans can't ignore. If Vaughn's sister really did it, why is she still so loud online? Why fight everyone on Twitter instead of laying low? Maybe because she knows the industry will never let the truth spill. Too many careers, too much money depends on it staying buried. The aftermath was chaos. Vaughn's supporters flooded timelines with hashtags, screaming for justice. Some even claimed to have seen lost footage that never made the news. Leaked DMS mysterious screenshots, breadcrumbs pointing again and again to the same chilling conclusion. The second shooter wasn't a stranger. It was family. And what does that do to a legacy? King Vaughn's music still shakes speakers. His storytelling still hits. But now, every lyric feels haunted. Every video feels like a ghost calling out for justice. And his sister? No matter how many times she denies, no matter how many distractions she spins, the streets already judged her guilty. Here's the haunting truth. Betrayal doesn't die with the body. It lives on in rumors, in silence, in the looks people give at family gatherings. Fans believe Vaughn's spirit won't rest until the truth explodes, and the truth is darker than anyone is ready for. Because this wasn't just a killing. This was a sacrifice, a brother erased by his sister, a friend betrayed by his friend, and an enemy laughing in the shadows. And the industry? They'll keep milking Vaughn's name, dropping tribute songs, selling out shows, while the real story stays locked away. Because if the truth ever came out, it would burn everyone. So here we are. Years later, the whispers only louder. The second shooter theory now legend, the forbidden scandal with NBA YoungBoy the elephant in the room, and betrayal by blood the darkest stain hip-hop has ever seen. The streets want answers. But maybe the truth won't come from police files or courtroom testimony. Maybe the truth has always been here, hiding in every shady move, every denied rumor, every guilty silence. And that leaves us with one final chilling truth. King Vaughn didn't just die on the streets. He was executed by the very people who claimed they loved him the most. So what do we do with this story, this nightmare, this betrayal? Do we accept the official version of King Von's death, just another street fight gone bad? Or do we dig deeper, into the whispers, the evidence, and the silence that screams louder than bullets? Because the streets are convinced, Von's death wasn't an accident. It wasn't random. It was a setup. A conspiracy dripping with betrayal, fueled by scandal, and carried out by the ones closest to him. His sister, the very blood he trusted, now accused of being the second shooter. Lil Durk, the so-called brother-in-arms, painted as the man who may have cleaned it up. And NBA YoungBoy, the shadowy op who could have been the spark behind the entire plot. But here's the haunting question. If your own family can betray you, if your own circle can turn against you, then who is really safe in this industry? Loyalty is a word rappers scream in every song, but behind the curtains, it's betrayal running the show. And now it's on you, the fans, the viewers, the ones who keep this story alive. Do you believe Von's sister was the second shooter? Do you think Lil Durk played a role? Or is this all smoke and mirrors, a scandal too wild to be real? Drop your thoughts below, because this debate is only getting messier. Argue. Question. Expose. Let the world know what you believe really went down that night.